Conversation on beauty. Like I said, we shall be having it later on this broadcast. But of course, you can engage with us on social media at TV47 News on Twitter, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, at Grace Kuria KE is my handle on Twitter. And the question we're asking you is, would you alter any part of your body if you could? You know, if you are able to, would you alter any part of your body? Just send in your feedback and questions. We'll be sampling them when we get to that conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Grace Kuria Kanja, and our sign language interpreter tonight is Rhoda Nyamai. Now, more than 24 hours since a nationwide power outage hit the country, a section of Kenyans are still in the dark as the power distributing company works to restore power in the affected areas. However, what caused the outage that claimed several jobs? Here is Vera Alberta with more.
Barely a few hours after Kenya Power and Lighting Company announced scheduled power interruptions in parts of Bungoma, Nairobi, Kiambu, Trans Nzoia and Kilifi counties, the whole country was plunged into total darkness Friday night at 9:45 p.m. Kenya Power, through a statement on social media apologizing to Kenyans, said, "We experienced system disturbance leading to loss of bulk power supply to various parts of the country. We are working in collaboration with teams from all involved sector partners to facilitate speedy restoration of power supply in the shortest time possible." The power outage lasted close to 12 hours before its restoration in parts of the country. According to the Kenya Power, the outage was caused by a fault on one of its generation plants. This, as a section of Kenyans remain in the dark more than 20 hours since the power blackout, with Kenya Power urging members of the public to be patient. Barely 4 months ago, the country experienced a similar blackout lasting several hours, with Kenya Power saying it was caused by a fault in the Susolo-Yangalani high-voltage power transmission line. The big question remains, is it indeed a case of system disturbance or laxity by the engineers at the power distributing company? Vera Alberta, TV47, Nairobi.
And still on that story, now Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has terminated the contract of the Kenya Airport Authority Managing Director Alex Gitari. This follows massive power outage at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport Friday that left passengers stranded for hours. And as Sheila Chelangat reports, the Transport CS has also made some sweeping changes at JKIA by transferring the airport manager Abel Gogo to Mombasa.
Yesterday's countrywide power outage at 9:45 p.m. plunged the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport into darkness for hours, leaving travelers stranded and services at the airport paralyzed.
Terminal 1A. And you know, Terminal 1A is the biggest of them all. It's the jewel of this airport. That is where it caused a lot of problems, but it only affected passengers, staying in there in darkness.
Statement by the Kenya Airports Authority indicated that the hours-long darkness faced at the airport was as a result of a fail by backup generators existing to start when the grid went off.
They have explained to us many technical issues that were unable to function, the seamless reconnection of power and so forth. But those are excuses, and we cannot give Kenyans excuses. We should have foreseen that those things can happen.
Following last night's mishap, the CS announced a raft of changes effective immediately at the Kenya Airports Authority.
We want the person who will come in to commit to work day and night to make sure that the generators are functioning. But in the meantime, we will make sure that we direct the current existing backup generators to function well.
Mr. Alex Gitari has been dismissed as Managing Director, with Henry Ogoye appointed to replace him as Acting Managing Director. Also, Fred Odao has been dismissed as the Chief Engineer, with Engineer Samuel Mechache set to replace him as Acting Head Engineer, in which CS Kipchumba Murkomen says it was a mutual agreement between both sides. Other changes made also include Mr. Abel Gogo, who was the manager at JKIA, now has been moved to Mombasa International Airport, with his counterpart Selina Gore moving from Kisumu International Airport to JKIA as manager. Peter Wafula, who managed Mombasa Airport, now moves to Kisumu International Airport. For now, systems have been restored and operations have resumed. With the Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen taking drastic action on top management of the Kenya Airports Authority, he assures Kenyans that such an incident will not reoccur in the future. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 at the JKIA in Nairobi.
And following that outage that lasted more than 10 hours, traders in Nairobi County are counting huge losses. According to them, some of them are at the city market, they largely sell meat and fish products. They have been forced to throw away tens of kilograms of fish and meat that spoiled due to lack of power. Stylists, barbers, electrical shops and hospitals were not spared either, as majority were forced to use generators, incurring extra expenses to keep their businesses afloat. Here is Eric Matika with more.
Traders are counting losses in Nairobi following a power outage that hit the country Friday night. Traders at the city market here in Nairobi say hundreds of kilos of meat and fish have been thrown away after they got spoiled.
Kwanza leo tumeamka tukapata hakuna stima, and it was so unfortunate because kama sisi hapa you can see most of the things ni nyama and are perishable things. Juu tuko na kuku, tuko na minced meat, tuko na maini. Like hizo ni vitu zenye hazifai kukaa for long.
Kuna zile nyama zilipika, unaona? Sababu stima zilikuja saa 8, kuna zingine hapa 2 zimechomeka. Hizi barafu zetu wanatumia stima. Sasa stima after kupotea, result imekuwa ni hasara. Kama mimi ameenda hasara ya kitu ngiri 27 akihesabu vibaya.
Electronic shops, barber shops and salons were not spared either. Majority resorting to use generators to run operations, which has made them incur inflated expenses.
Tumekuwa very affected, especially kwa hii business yetu, because mostly our business depends on electricity, so we are not able to sell some of our items.
Jana tumekuwa na wase wengi walitaka kutengenezwa, lakini sasa jua hiyo issue ya stima hawakutengenezwa So mwaneo sana ni siku ni kama imeenda hivyo. Alafu unaona ilikuwa ile matime ya majioni, na majioni ndo watu wengi wanakuwa wametokea job.
Natengenezanga makucha na shuka. So nilikuwa na customer wengine walikuwa waoshwe, hawakuoshwa, wengine walienda wakiwa na maji na walikuwa na malfunction leo. So ilitumesi.
The traders have criticized the power distributing company, accusing its officers of laxity.
Their statement wasn't really promising, wasn't encouraging. They didn't give us a timeline on when we are going to expect the lights back. So next time they should at least handle it quicker.
Wangetuambia mapema, like wangesema kutakuwa na stima zitapotea matime fulani, at least unajua tungejipanga, alafu pia tungeambia client wetu in case of anything like this wakuwe wanaalert watu mapema.
Some traders had to close their business for the better part of the day, a clear picture of the effect the outage has had on business in the country. The traders have called on the KPLC to put measures in place to counter such incident in future. Eric Matika, TV47.
Right, and thank you Vera, Sheila and Matika for those packages on the power outage situation in the country. Let's move on. Azimio leaders led by their boss Raila Odinga now say they are contemplating resuming the anti-government protest should dialogue fail to bear fruits, telling off Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua over his remarks that the government will not allow any protests in the country. Speaking in Kajiado County, where they attended an interdenominational Thanksgiving service, Raila and his brigade criticized DP Gachagua in what they say is interference with the bipartisan team through his remarks, urging him to keep off. Elizabeth Mutuku with more.
Speaking in Kajiado County after attending an interdenominational Thanksgiving service in Kitengela. Azimio leader Raila Odinga fired a salvo at Kenya Kwanza leaders, saying he is ready to go back to streets should dialogue fail to bear fruits.
Kalonzo na ile inaitwa Ichungwa waongee Tumewapatia hao siku chache tu. Wakileta nyokonyoko, tutasema mtoke, sawa sawa? Mtakuwa tayari kutoka? Mtakuwa tayari kutoka? Wangapi wanaunga mkono nione tena?
Raila and his brigade came out guns blazing against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in what they termed as interference with ongoing dialogue process, telling him to keep off.
Tusi kila siku. Hakuna siasa ambayo inaweza kuleta maendeleo ya matusi. Sisi tumesema kama Azimio, gharama maisha mpaka irudi chini. Pili, ile nyungu ya kura sava ifunguliwe.
Further, Azimio Brigade insisted they won't relent on taking to streets as long as the issues addressed have not been resolved, stating life is unbearable and will keep calling out government failure.
Niliona mwingine akisema ati haikuwa maandamano, eti tuliharibu mali na tuliiba. Mimi nataka kukuambia wananchi walikuwa na amani mpaka polisi wakaleta fujo. Ni kweli au si kweli? Kama una hakika iko mali ya watu tulivunja, wachana na hawa wananchi kujia Raila, mimi na wenzetu.
Maandamano ilifanyika, akasema hataki maandamano. Mazungumzo ikakuja, akasema hiyo mazungumzo haitaki, hakuna mahali inaelekea. Tunataka kumwambia kwamba yeye hiyo mazungumzo ikikwama kidogo, kama vile mmesema, tutarudi kwa maandamano. Shida yake kubwa ni hiyo cheo cha Prime Cabinet Secretary. Mashindano yake na Musalia anatuletea makasiriko juu ya hiyo. Aambiwe ya kwamba hiyo ni wao wameleta, sio sisi.
Baki siku 40. Wakikataa kuelewana tutarudi barabara. Ni wangapi tuone kwa mkono, ni wangapi?
The remarks comes hours after Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua warned that the Kenya Kwanza government will not allow protest and more so destruction of property.
Pigwe pingo sitarudi nyuma, onipigwe pingo.
Elizabeth Mutuku, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Elizabeth Mutuku, for that. Now, President William Ruto has today launched a charm offensive in Busia County, considered an Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga's stronghold, where he rallied the region against street protests called by Odinga. Local leaders, led by County Governor Paul Otuoma, pledged to support the president, who launched the Mulohoba fish landing site, which is expected to save fish from Lake Victoria area. Now, leaders urged the president to speak to his Ugandan counterpart, President Yoweri Museveni, to end the arrest of Kenyan fishermen on the Ugandan side of Lake Victoria. Apollo Kamau reports.
President William Ruto took his charm offensive to Busia County, which served as the entry point of his week-long tour of the Western Kenya region, perceived to be Azimio leader Raila Odinga's political bastion. Local leaders, led by County Governor Paul Otuoma, pledging their support to the president while calling for an end to Azimio street protests. The president warning Azimio against a return to the street protests.
Mimi nataka niulize nyinyi, maandamano ni ya kuharibu mali? Maandamano ni ya kuharibu biashara? Hii maandamano ikome ama isikome? Wangapi wanasema tukomeshe maandamano hii dunia? Yes. Hii maandamano hii itakoma. Na hawa watu nitawakalia ngumu. Hapana.
Ama mnataka tumange na vitu vingine? Mimi niko aligned. Na president tulianza na wewe mbali. Other than saa ingine tu vile Angela amesema kila mtu anajipanga namna hii. Hivi vitu vingine wewe unajua. Sisi tumetoka na wewe mbali.
Lazima mtoto anyamaze, tuendelee na kazi. Haitatusaidia because you see we must work for these people and you have started very well on the right note.
Sasa kama huyu William Ruto rais wetu alishinda huyu mzee wakiwa na Uhuru na machief na polisi, si tuende tunasema nitakuwa mtaramuko? Itakuwa mtaramuko? Mtabadilisha, mjipanga vizuri.
The president commissioned the Mulukoba fish landing site, a crucial project for local fishermen who will preserve their catch at the refrigerated facility. Local leaders pleading with the president to speak to his Ugandan counterpart, President Yoweri Museveni, and stop the arrests of Kenyan fishermen.
Kama tungejenga tu hatcheries, various hatcheries, both Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, along the beaches, kazi ya vijana tuandike. Hata kama mnawalipa mshahara hata 20,000 ama 15, kazi yao ni kuzalisha samaki, kutupa ndani. Samaki zenyewe zitatafuta chakula huko ndani, na watu waende wafanye nini? Wavue.
And the best you can do for us, Your Excellency, get to sit with your neighbor, the President of Uganda, say that you open for us the border in the lake. Iwe wazi, samaki tunatafuta haijui border.
Tuko na facility ambayo tumepanga ya shilingi bilioni 1 hapa Kabonyo. Hiyo facility ndio tutaweka hatcheries nyingi na tutaajiri vijana wengi watakao tusaidia katika restocking ya ziwa letu la Lake Victoria.
Your Excellency, you are delivering. You promised and you are delivering. And so today, me, I'm a happy follower of His Excellency William Ruto.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, however, had bad news for local residents after opposing the rehabilitation of the local stadium destroyed during Azimio protests.
Kama rais atasema ndio, okay, I have to accept because he is the boss and you don't argue with your boss, but with a heavy heart. Ati wao wanataka pesa ya kujenga stadium, hawa watu walibomoa wenyewe, tukupatie pesa ujenge? How?
The president also attended the dedication of Alupe University Library in Teso South constituency ahead of his tour of Bungoma County on Sunday. Apol Kamau, TV47.
Thank you, Apollo Kamau. Now, Kenya Kwanza members of parliament have put on notice non-performing cabinet secretaries, warning the National Assembly will not entertain CSs who set up President William Ruto to fail in his plan to deliver promises in the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. Now, the ruling party members of parliament, Dagoretti South MP John Kerry and Embu woman representative Njoki Njeru, the warning came a week after Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba came under fire from MPs for mismanaging his docket. A section of President Ruto's cabinet secretaries have come under fire from the members of parliament, among them Moses Kuria and Labour CS Florence Bore, who have faced questions in their respective dockets. The MPs also weighed in on the ongoing bipartisan talks at the Bomas of Kenya.
Waziri yeyote ambaye atapatikana na tetesi za ufisadi ataubeba msalaba wake, na wa kwanza kumweka kwenye msalaba watakuwa ni wajumbe wa Kenya Kwanza. Hatutasubiri ati kwamba wajumbe wa upinzani ndio watakuwa wanaelekeza kidole kwa mawaziri wazembe ama wa mawaziri wafisadi. Ya pili ni kwenye utendakazi.
And Defense Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has today engaged with the local leadership and heads of security in Lamu County over the runaway insecurity in the region. Duale has vowed to tackle the rampant insecurity which continues to be witnessed in Lamu County, urging the community to collaborate closely with the security agencies to prevent future attacks. Mohammed Abdibare with more.
Defense Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has vowed to firmly deal with the runaway insecurity in Lamu County. Speaking during a security meeting in Mokowe area, Duale said the government will address the insecurity menace in Lamu once and for all.
We have the highest number of troops and boots on the ground in Lamu County. Because Lamu is Kenya, Lamu is very critical to the economy of our country. We want to protect our people, we want to protect their property, now we want to protect Lapset and the port.
Pamela Ogutu, a resident who lost her child to the recent attacks in Lamu, has also expressed her anger urging the government to safeguard their lives.
Mimi mwenyewe mtoto wangu alichinjwa mbele yangu. Magaidi wamekuja, walifika tu kwangu wakiniambia sisi ni Al-Shabaab original na tumekuja kuua. Wakiniambia hivyo wamekuja kuua, kijana yangu ni mwaka 19 nimelea pale.
Duale warned the residents of Lamu against collaborating with the terrorists, noting that those found guilty will face the full force of the law.
Al-Shabaab hawezi kutoka Somalia akuje aue driver na tanboy ya gari inabeba mali. Lazima ako na marafiki hapa. Unasikia? Na wote tunawajua. We know those who are collaborating with Al-Shabaab. Mimi nataka niwaambie, your days are numbered.
The residents are now asking the government to beef up security in the area which has been witnessing frequent attacks in the recent past.
Tukiwaambia tafadhali si mwenda nani hapa tu msitu uko hapa, wanasema bado hawana oda. Pauliza, kama wewe ndio unatoaga oda, waziri, tafadhali siwaachilie oda za kule kwetu.
Mohamed Abdibare, TV47.
Thank you, Mohamed Abdibare, for that. Now, a 21-year-old girl who was rescued from early marriage in 2008 after her father tried to marry her off while she was barely 7 years old has finally graduated with a diploma in community development and social work. Let's get more of this great news from Elizabeth Atieno.
The atmosphere in Kipsing village, Isiolo County, is that of happiness and victory. Residents here are celebrating Sandra Ntoye, who is an epitome of resilience. Today, she is holding her graduation ceremony. The look on her face paints a clear picture of utter disbelief. 15 years ago, while she was still 7 years old, Ntoye was married to a 50-year-old man as a second wife, the first wife being her sister, who was 10 years old at the time.
Today we are celebrating one of our graduates at the Samburu Girls Foundation, Sandra. She has been a resilient girl. Actually, she was among the first girls I rescued when I started this work. In 2008, we rescued her from, she was already married, actually, 2 days later.
But she was fortunate enough to be rescued just 2 days in her forceful marriage by the Samburu Girls Foundation.
I did community development and social work at Kajiado Masai Technical Training Institute, and I thank Samburu Girls for this further. They have assisted me and I've graduated for my diploma in community development and social work, and I'm so happy and grateful.
Ntoye was able to proceed with her studies at the Masai Technical College in Kajiado County, making her the first girl in her family to complete her education from primary to higher learning.
And we enrolled her to school from preschool, worked with her, and through the help of well-wishers, actually I want to mention them and say thank you to the family of Marianne Tutuma, and they were able to help us educate her, and she just graduated last week.
According to UNICEF, approximately 640 million women and girls alive today were married in childhood. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
Beautiful. Thank you, Elizabeth Atieno, for that. And President William Ruto has announced the government's plan to write over 117 billion shillings owed by sugar factories in an effort to revive the ailing Mumias Sugar and Nzoia Sugar factories in Western Kenya. Now speaking in Kakamega during the launch of 5,000 affordable housing, Ruto also assured farmers of ready market of their produce, promising to procure new machines to Mumias Sugar to enhance efficiency, sentiments echoed by Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barasa. Now, Ruto was accompanied by his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, and Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. He said the decision to write off the debt is part of an arrangement to fix problems ailing the sugar subsector.
Nimewaambia hawa wabunge watoe madeni. I promise the people of this county that ile madeni yote nitafutilia mbali. Madeni yote sasa ni bilioni 117. Niliwaambia mambo mawili, madeni itaondoka na hakuna ardhi ya watu ambayo itafanywa privatization na mtu yeyote. Tunaelewana? Ile tutafanya hapa ni leasing, kuhakikisha kwamba mambo hiyo inaendelea. Alafu ya pili tutahakikisha kwamba kuna machine mpya ambayo itakuwa inatusaidia hapa. Ile machine iko pale ni ya 1920. Na nimewapatia wale wezi wote, nimewapatia notice. Mtu yote muizi anaiba pesa ya umma ajipange.
Nashukuru sana vile umetangaza mambo ya Mumias. Mumias imekuwa sugu sana kwa upande wa wakulima, and we support you especially on the fact that you want to write off the debts of Mumias Sugar Company. Na sisi tumesema we want to support 100% mambo ya economic transformation agenda, especially on the production.
To the world of sports now, and your gracious Ojok scored a first half goal to help 10-man Tusker FC secure a 1-0 victory over Bandari FC in their opening fixture of the new season of the FKF Premier League at the Mbaraki Sports Club Saturday afternoon. Now, the KG match saw both sides failing to capitalize on their chances to score goals and take the lead in the first half. However, Ojok found the breakthrough to head home the solitary goal of the match in the 41st minute. Elsewhere, defending champions Gor Mahia were held to a 1-1 stalemate with Sofapaka. Kariobangi Sharks played out to a goalless draw with Kenya Police FC, while Nzoia Sugar defeated Ulinzi Stars 2-1 at the Sudi Stadium.
Si ya kuridhisha, na nimewambia vijana half time mpira ni kutumia nafasi. Tumezipata nafasi zetu, wao wamepata hii inaitwa half chance wametumia, na ni juu ya yani kutokuwa nasema alert pale wakati hatuna mpira. Wakati wote hamna mpira lazima muwe macho na kutarajia chochote. Kwa hivyo ile reaction yetu ilikuwa very late, na hiyo ndio malipo yake tunalipa.
Wachezaji ni wapya, hajazoeana, so inakuwa ni kazi ngumu kidogo, lakini tuli expect kuwa ngumu, na pia kitu muhimu tumefurahia ushindi. Hiyo makosa mengine ilikuwa mengi, licha pia tumepoteza wachezaji wengi sana kwa injuries, karibu wachezaji 7-8, but nimeshukuru sana wachezaji wangu wale walibaki, wamefanya kazi ile tuli expect wafanye.
And Vihiga champions, the Bali boys, will square it out with Compel Sportive from Bungoma in the Safaricom Chapadimba Western Region Finals Sunday afternoon at the Buhungu Stadium after both sides won their respective match of the tournament in the semi-final stage. Now, Bali secured a hard-fought 3-2 victory over the Manes from Kakamega to qualify into the finals, courtesy of goals scored by Austin Odongo, Tom Oserio and Derek Okech. Now, the other semi-final match saw Compel Sportive defeating John Osogo 5-3 in post-match penalties after the game ended in a 3-3 stalemate in normal stoppage time. Meanwhile, in the girls category, Lugari Progressive thrashed Maroon Queens 3-0 to set up a finals encounter against Brenda Girls from Bungoma, who defeated Chakol Mixed 4-1.
After unajua ile goal tulifungwa ya mwanzo kidogo iliwapatia tensing kidogo, na tulipoongelesha tukawaambia waweke chini mpira wacheze game yao na opponents tutawaingia, na unaona game ili change, ndio tukafunga hayo mabao manne. Saa hizi tunaenda kurekebisha mistakes zenye walikuwa wanafanya, na tuwaongeleshe kesho wacheze game yao real, na mashabiki tunawaambia game itakuwa tofauti ya kupendeza.
Imekuwa poa. Tumecheza game, tukao tumeana players wengine, tupeana mapasses hapo. So ndio ile mabao yakaonekana. Taka kesho ikifika.
And the call to foster peace between warring communities within Marsabit County has been championed through a 3-day football tournament launched Saturday afternoon by Marsabit County MP Naomi Wako. Now, speaking during the launch of the tournament, Wako expressed the need to empower the youth through sports in order to also avert cases of insecurity and drug abuse, stating that the youth force is the future of the nation. Wako urged stakeholders and well-wishers from all over the county to jump on the bandwagon and facilitate the initiative for the greater good of the society.
Games tunacheza, game yangu ni peaceful coexistence. Sisi wote tuishi kwa amani pamoja. Number 2, tuseme bye bye to drugs. Number 3, tuseme bye-bye to FGM. Tena tuseme bye-bye to early marriages. Najua sasa naona hapa hawa vijana wamejaja. Jamani msisumbue wasichana wetu waweke haraka. Si ndio? Wasichana msikatie wasichana. Msikatie wasichana. Sasa mambo ya drugs. Mambo ya drugs. Hii town yetu imeisha kwa sababu ya drugs. Si ndio? Do you agree with me? Yes. Na our future is in you. Si ndio? Mimi ninaelekea kumaliza maka yangu ya politics na vitu nyingi. Huyu anafanya hivyo. Our future leaders ni nyinyi. Yes. You are our future leaders. Na kama sasa drugs na vitu zingine zitawaharibu, sisi tutakuwa tumepoteza generation. Yes.
Right, and it's now time to take our fast commercial break here on TV47 Weekend Edition. Stay with us, don't go anywhere, okay? When we come back, we have that conversation on beauty, on her say. Stay with us.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Muyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Toka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Nitakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanji Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi.
Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday 7:30 p.m. unapata nafasi kufahamu viongozi mbalimbali kutoka humu nchini, kuanzia wabunge.
Through Changa we could get money to pay our rent, to pay our bills.
When I was growing up, water was a problem where I was born and bred. We wake up at 3 to go and look for water.
Magavana
must be ready to be a tough
woman
and not a woman to be walked over. Kwa hivyo you respect people.
Ndani ya Mfahamu Kiongozi, story na historia, na mi Elizabeth Muchuku.
basically on beauty. We're asking you, what is beauty? You know, who said, I mean, the saying, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Who is this beholder? Are there standards for beauty? Who set those standards? You know, that's all we want to find out on this conversation tonight. And remember, we're asking you, if you had a chance, if you could, would you alter any part of your body? You can send in your feedback and your questions, which I already see, by the way, on Twitter, TV47 News, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, and Grace Korea KE on Twitter. That's my handle, okay? At some point, we're going to open our lines. You can call in live with your questions or comments on 0768095491. That's at some point in this conversation, okay? So time now to rope in my guests who are with me in studio. Karibu sana, ladies. You're looking great. Thank you so much for coming today. Dr. Mukami Gadareki on my left. This is left here. She's a plastic reconstructive and aesthetic surgeon. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have on my extreme left, Evelyn Okinyi Owala, a world elite pro wellness champion, and of course the founder, Evil Health and Fitness. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we shall be joined at some point in this conversation by Eunice Wamboi. I'm sure you all know her, Nyasuguta, yeah? She's a Kenyan actress, and she shall be joining us for this conversation tonight. So, ladies, I want to start with you, and we're talking about beauty, and we're asking what is beauty, particularly in women, and that's where I want us to start. What exactly is beauty, and what are these standards? Because there's so many of them, and who set, you know, these standards such that you can look at one woman and say she's so beautiful, another one, you know, why? Why is this? Doc, if I could start with you.
Personally, I would say beauty is something that should, and I use the word should, come from you, how you feel and how you look. Because as you have said, if you wait for the world or someone else to set the standard, then you will be out there chasing for something or happiness that you will never achieve. Mm-hmm. So beauty for me should come from within. Maybe how you look, how you feel mentally, physically. Of course, I will talk from a medical perspective.
Right.
So it's physical, mental, just overall wellness. Mm-hmm. That's how I would describe beauty, mm-hmm. but it should come from within.
Yes, it should.
Yeah.
Eve?
I would describe beauty as wearing and being confident in the skin you live in. I totally believe that every human being is unique and stands out in their own way, but it needs a reconciliation between yourself mentally and yourself physically. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we're discussing beauty, everything beauty. The reason why we're having Eunice Wamboi, who will join us soon, Nyasuguta, is because she, you know, resulted to bleaching, yeah, and she's been gracious enough to, you know, agree to come, or rather join us virtually all the way from Dubai, and she'll be sharing her story with us. But everything, right from, you know, the bleaching to liposuction, hair transplantation, breast lift, everything, yeah? And I want us to start with you, Doc, just explaining to us or breaking down the difference between plastic surgery, reconstructive, cosmetic surgery. Just break down those terms for us.
Okay. So plastic surgery in general is a subspecialty in surgery where we generally want to restore and reconstruct or try to normalize the body as it was before. So as my title is, I'm a plastic, reconstructive and aesthetic surgeon. Mm-hmm. So plastic surgery is the subspecialty. And then we have now reconstructive surgery. For reconstructive surgery, we are trying to restore what has been maybe taken away. So in reconstructive surgery, we have craniofacial, which involves the head and the neck. So for example, children who have been born with cleft lip and palate, we have seen that. Mm-hmm. We are able to reconstruct. We have individuals who have cancer. So we take away the cancer. We do work with other surgeons as well, and then reconstruct and try to bring normalcy. Mm-hmm. We also have hand surgery. So for example, we do have people who have been involved in accidents, and maybe they have fractures with soft tissue, which is missing. We reconstruct that.
Right.
We also have microsurgery, which is dealing with blood vessels on a very small level. And then, of course, burns, which is something that affects third world countries. When we come to aesthetic surgery or cosmetic surgery, we are trying to basically, it's someone who does not have a disease, let me say that, someone who is normal, but we are trying to restore something that has gone weary. So for example, someone who has had children, maybe 3 children, and they have a pendulous abdomen, maybe they've gone and they've tried to go to the gym and they can't achieve due to what we call diastasis recti. So they will come to us, they will want us to rectify the muscle and take away the excess skin. Of course, we do have liposuction. If someone has excess fat, we can transfer that fat to other places. We have breast surgery, we have face lifts, rhinoplasty, where someone would want to reconstruct their nose. Basically from head to toe, our surgery is quite extensive. Yes.
And Doc, still on you, how and when did we get here? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think growing up, we didn't used to have much of these conversations, yeah? I mean, growing up, one probably thought my nose is okay.
Yes.
But you get to a certain age and you're like, I'd like it to look like this, you know, I'd like my eyes or whatever. I mean, how is it an esteem issue like Eve here was saying, or did we get more enlightened? How did we get here?
Actually, plastic surgery goes all the way to the 16th century.
That's true.
From Egypt. That's where it all started, but that was more of reconstructive. So I think as we evolved, people began to see that, well, we can do this aesthetically. More prominent in the Western area, but due to probably social media, TV influence, you will definitely see that probably I would like such a nose or such a figure, and then you will approach your doctor. So I would attribute it to exposure, social media and internet, because when we were young, we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have internet. Whatever we saw were cartoons. But now due to that influence, maybe that has also affected our decision currently.
Right. Eve, as founder, Evil Health and Fitness, we're having you here today as a fitness coach. And in your line of duty, Eve, you have encountered many, allow me to say women, because this is Hase, we're all about women. And I just want to know, most of them who come to you and seek your services and want, say, their certain parts of their body to be bigger or smaller, you know, what are some of the reasons they give? They could be doing it for them, they could be doing it for their men, they could be doing it because, you know, of society. What are some of the reasons that you get from these women?
Speaking in general, most women we always have a blanket statement that we are doing it for ourselves, which is so beautiful in itself and so encouraging. But the truth is, there is a standard we are trying to meet. Whether it's a societal standard, whether it's a standard of you being appreciated more or accepted more in whatever space you are in, that is per individual basis. But what I know is that the internet plays a big role, and perfection has created a state where, you know, you see anything on the internet and it goes, and you don't know whether that thing is photoshopped, you don't know what it is, but you want to look close to that as much as you can, you know. So with that, there has been a lot of pressure, but more pressure is on trying to, you know, meet these standards and be acceptable in the space you feel you reconcile how you look with how you want to look. You know, so once you're able to reconcile those two, you are more comfortable with yourself, you'll find your confidence level changes, your dressing changes, and your body language changes. So I think it's more or less, apart from, oh, I'm doing it for myself, which is a very beautiful place to begin. But the truth is, apart from doing it for yourself, there are people who surround you, and some people say things jokingly, and those things reach deep, you know, and sometimes you might be saying, oh, stop eating, you're big, stop eating, or, you know, you can say something in passing and it really probably it was the the person wanted to hear such,
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
And or maybe you're saying it in a joke, and you don't know to what limit that person has stretched to be who they are. So we should just be like, a little bit more conscious around all of us. You don't know what's happening in somebody's life.
Right.
Yeah.
And Eve, allow me, because I've done my research, on you as a fitness coach and even your journey as Eve personally, because a few years back, Eve, the gorgeous Eve we see today, we still had that, but I mean, you've come a long way, if you know where I'm getting at, in terms of even you and your weight and your appearance. Would you take us through that? Perhaps what led to this journey that perhaps even saw the birthing of Evil Fitness?
It's interesting because it was a combination of things. One, there are the health issues that actually exist sometimes when you're not active enough. And one of those had taken me through a main surgery. So I had, some severe cyst problems that I was just throwing up like it was so bad. So because of that, and when I went for surgery, immediately after the surgery, 1 month later, I had the same cysts grow again, and I was having the same problem. So I asked myself one question: how long, how many times will I keep on going for surgery?
Right.
Which led me to trying to find out and study on behalf of women. I train both men and women, but I'm a bit passionate, especially when it comes to women, because we have a lot of hormonal things going on, and our life is just a whole, array of things happening in there. And I studied a lot just to be able to help myself, let alone help other women. And I was able to find remedies that could help me, help other women around me, and so on and so forth. There was that bit. Also, there was a bit of how I wanted to look, because even though cysts triggered, and also the good thing is that my husband was active in himself.
Yes, yes, I know that actually.
Yeah, he was active. So if he was active, it was a good place to be, and which actually drove my mindset a little bit more. But also there was an ideal shape that I wanted, and most of us, and ladies come to me all the time, oh, I want this snatch like this, my bum like this, and they have all this description of this sculpture they want to be, but they don't know the route of how to get there. So I walked the journey to be able to assist more people get there, because I can tell you for free, it's a good feeling.
Yeah. So we appear to have, options here. You can go the fitness way, you can diet. We're going to talk about that, by the way.
Yeah, right.
But there's also the option of cosmetic surgery, which is why you're here, Doc. So what, apart from, is it allowed for me to say legit reasons, like if it's medical reasons? Apart from that, I just want an enlarged breasts, an enlarged butt. I just want my nose, because I don't like it, not because it affects me in any way. I just want a different shape for my nose, just because I want to. What should I know before going for any cosmetic surgery procedure?
So basically the first thing is, yes, which type of procedure do you want? Then I think the biggest decision and the best decision you'll ever make is who to go to. Because remember, this will alter and may actually be a life-dependent decision.
Right.
Because I always insist that you should go to someone who is certified, someone who knows what they're doing. And this information is all over the internet. So we call it's a certified plastic surgeon, quote unquote. So someone who has gone for training and they know what they're doing. Because remember, at the end of the day, it is still a surgery and there are risks involved. So I think the biggest decision you could make for yourself is to choose a certified plastic surgeon. If I may add that, for example, someone who wants to come for liposuction or an abdominoplasty, we treat them as a wholesome. We work with a nutritionist, and we also work with people in the fitness industry. such that if you come with a certain BMI and you want liposuction, you will not get the ideal results. As much as it's cosmetic surgery, we are not performing magic. So we will advise you to watch your diet and also include fitness so that you can get the best results that you want. We are only assisting. We are not working out magic. Right. So even after the surgery, you still have to hit the gym. You still have to eat right. So as much as it may assist you, it's still not as much as a shortcut as people would like to think. If we do perform the liposuction and you start eating your fries and your sausages and fried chicken, or you will add weight to other areas, maybe not where we have liposucked due to some science. Yes.
Which I actually like what she has said, because most of us think that it's a means to the end. Like after the lipo,
no,
that's it.
We'll be scared
That's
of
it.
you
And never come back.
and never come here. And I'm like, you see, this is a procedure that is not teaching you the process. It is not teaching you the discipline. It is giving you, it is reducing the fat levels or whatever in whatever place, right? Even if, let's say, you had gotten your BBL, remember they have taken fat from somewhere else and planted those fat cells in your bum. So it is not a means to the end, which means there are things when you do, every result you got, quote unquote, will disappear.
Right.
So which means you still have to take your fitness seriously, align your discipline properly, and stick to a healthy lifestyle to be a fully healthy person. The only problem is that we go for it thinking that it's the end. So during your recovery, you're also eating nicely,
And which is actually what I wanted to ask Eve, on the back of what Doc said. Have you encountered such clients, you know?
All right. My biggest encounter, unfortunately, most of the people who've gone through lipo, they have that same challenge, the one we are talking about. So they end up going for lipo again and again, because they do not embrace a cycle that can help them. They do not help themselves. But the ones we get are the extremists in terms of diets. Maybe they cut off everything like the world is ending. And now they lost a lot of weight and now we have loose skin, which means we try to work. If it's within reasonable range, we'll try to work in such a way that we firm up, right?
Right.
If you come to me as a trainer and I see like we try and it's almost impossible, definitely she has to come in, because now we have to tighten the skin and stuff. But I must say, of the thousands of people I have trained, I have never been able to send somebody yet to a surgeon, because luckily we have been able to recover most.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Doc, she said, you know, some result to lipo after lipo after lipo. I mean, from a layman's point of view, that's dangerous.
I will be honest, plastic surgery is addictive, being that the results are immediate. Can you imagine coming to me in the morning, looking a certain way, then after 6 to 8 hours, you wake up, you look a certain way.
Yes.
Then, of course, for example, after lipo, we do have your lymphatic massages, and we have you wear your garment, so after the swelling goes down, you look even better. So then you're wondering, so why should I go to the gym for 6 months?
Which
I can have liposuction.
In an instant.
Yes. So yes, it's addictive, but remember, at the end of the day, we are still doctors, and that's why I insist on going to the right practitioner. Because if you go to someone who, at the end of the day, wants to make money, they won't make money.
Right.
But if you go to someone who is a practitioner and cares for the patient, we will guide you the right way. We will make sure that, you know, we do not just perform the surgery and let you go. We will follow you up till...
Take us through that.
Yes.
Take us through that.
So the first thing is you identify me as your surgeon. So, and you tell me, okay, doc, I want liposuction. So the first thing that we do is have a proper consultation. One consultation for a cosmetic surgery takes longer even than a reconstructive surgery. Because remember, this is someone who has no illness per se, and they come walking into you well. So a consultation can last between 1 hour to 3 hours because I have to assess so many things about you. So I have to assess, can you go through the surgery? Why do you want the surgery? It's very important to ascertain that you want the surgery for you and not because you're being forced by, for example, your spouse.
Right.
Remember, there are people maybe who would come from a background of abuse. So through taking a proper history and talking to you like a friend, I'm able to elicit. For example, someone would say, my boyfriend doesn't like my breasts.
So already that tells you something.
That's a red flag for me. So I have to identify that you really want this surgery for yourself. What are the reasons for you getting this surgery? Then one of the things that we really flag as cosmetic surgeons is what we call body dysmorphic disorder, which is a psychiatric illness that around 2 to 5% of the population may have that come for cosmetic surgery.
Yeah.
And body dysmorphic disorder means that someone has an issue with a particular part of their body, but they tend to exaggerate. So when they look at themselves in the mirror, they see that they have an extremely large nose. But when you look at them, you can't see that. So every morning in the mirror, they look at their nose and they pick on it and they apply makeup and you know all that.
You want to contour.
Yes. So once I even have the slightest idea, we have a questionnaire that some questions I'm supposed to ask. Once I pick that you have even a slight hint of body dysmorphic disorder, I'm supposed to refer you to a psychiatrist. Who, before I
have you actually
even
done that
operate,
at some point?
Yes, we do.
Yeah?
We actually take cosmetic surgery quite serious.
Yeah.
It's not what is out
As opposed
there.
to what people actually think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People think we just rush to operate. No, we don't. So if I even suspect you have BDD, body dysmorphic disorder, I will send you to a psychiatrist who will evaluate you. And if they feel I can go ahead with the surgery, you will come with a note and they will call me.
Right.
And they will tell me so and so can go ahead.
Okay.
But if they feel it's too much, they will tell me I do not recommend surgery for so and so. There are surgeons in America who have been killed by their patients. Because what happens if you operate on a patient with body dysmorphic disorder, it worsens the symptom. So, and then they become aggravated to you. They come, they want another surgery and another surgery and another surgery, and you become the source of their pain.
Yeah.
So they end up eliminating you.
Yeah, join the dots.
So before you end up on the table for surgery, we will have done 3 to 4 consultations to ascertain that you really need the surgery, that you understand what it takes, that you understand the complications,
right,
and that you understand the post-operative care.
Right.
So we just don't rush.
Okay, okay. Just hold it there, Doc. I'll come back to you and Eve because my director Emmanuel tells me we now have Eunice Wamboi, aka Nyasuguta, a Kenyan actress. Nyasuguta, good evening. It's what, 11? Is it 11? 11 p.m. in Dubai. Thank you so much for joining us, Nyasuguta. How are you?
I'm very okay. I'm very okay. How are you?
Great. We're doing fine. Thank you once again for joining. And we're due for a break shortly, Nyasuguta, but I just want to go straight to it because our conversation today, like I had told you earlier, is on beauty. And you're here today because of the aspect of bleaching. So let's get straight into it. And what, led you to bleaching, Nyasuguta? Because at some point we just saw a different Nyasuguta from the one we were used to on our screens. What led to that?
Yes. Okay, in the year 2012, 2013, I had a very fatal accident. That accident made me feel like I didn't have that self-confidence in me anymore because people are so used to me as in being the dark without any dents. Then after the accident, everything just changed. Everybody could see me and they could judge me and ask me, hey, nini lifanyika? Did you involve yourself in a fight or something? And such things used to make me feel so bad because I had to explain myself over and over and over all the time. So after I went to my doctor, because the cream that she had given me was making me as in lighten on one side, that place that I had a scar. So I had to use that cream on my whole face so that I can look even everywhere. So I'd say that is the reason as to why I had to change my skin color.
Right. Was it an easy or difficult decision to make? Because this is, life-changing. You've told us why you went for it, but at that moment, say that morning when you were going for it, was it easy or difficult?
It was very difficult because most of the people had gotten used to the dark me, and now I had to change my color to being who I am now, of which I'm proud that I made that decision, because after the accident, my self-esteem really went down. I could see people, all the time judging me by their looks and all that. So I think it was the best decision that I did so far.
All right, okay. So stay with me, Nyasuguta, Eve, Daktari, because we are due for a break, a very short one. Let's take that break. Stay with us. When we come back, we sample your feedback. You're going to call in live at some point, and we carry on with this conversation. So let's take that break. Stay with us.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for. That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Moyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Kutoka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Njiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni
surgeon. We have Evelyn Okinyi Owala, a world elite pro wellness champion and founder Evil Health and Fitness. And joining us all the way from Dubai is Eunice Wamboi, also known as Nyasuguta, a Kenyan actress. Now, keep sending your feedback. I see it, all right? Your questions, your comments. TV47 News on Twitter, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, at Grace Kriya KE on Twitter. Remember also at some point, you shall have the opportunity to call in live with your questions or comments, okay? And on the back of that, I see one comment here by George Nyongesa on Facebook, because we're asking you what is beauty and what you think about this whole topic. And he says it all depends on whether we are honest in the discussion or being politically correct, okay? To To a larger extent, beauty is not in the eye of the beholder. As humans, we created the idea of beauty. We seem to have the standards for what we consider beautiful. You see this in the fact that, for instance, we stage Miss Beauty contest at various levels all the way to Miss World. In other cases, we have majority of people agreeing that a given individual is beautiful. For instance, most men do think that Beyonce or Naomi Campbell are very beautiful. Now, the dilemma is in the fact that each couple, for instance, each man tends to argue that their girlfriend or wife is beautiful, even when the referendum holds a different view. This statement is true for the other gender. That's George Nyongesa. Thank you so much for that. Let's react to this. Let's get a reaction to this comment by George. Doc, Eve, who wants to go first?
Let Eve go first.
All right, Eve, the ball is in your court.
I think because of the society the way it is, we can have people that we generally agree that in terms of appearance can be more appealing to many people. However, that physical appearance can be quickly diluted by the character of an individual.
True.
So somebody can be physically beautiful, and when you get to know them, suddenly they are not that beautiful. And now that brings us now back to the person to person, like my spouse, and because what makes my spouse more appealing is not just the physical look. The physical look might have attracted me there, but the character and the personality of the person will make me stay. So I think that is where the delicate balance
comes in.
So the only reason we find maybe Beyonce and Naomi Campbell and anyone else who, Rihanna, and any other public figure beautiful is because we have not interacted with them on a personal basis. We are still judging them on the physical appearance. Maybe if we interacted more, I'd be like, oh my God.
She's mean.
I don't know. I have met people who I think are incredible, like they look amazing physically, until they started talking. I'm like, that's mean, girl. That's so mean.
All of a sudden,
suddenly they're not that beautiful. So,
Doc, and by the way, on that, I mean, have you encountered people who come and tell you, I want to be like Beyonce, I want to be like Rihanna, you know, just on the back of what George is saying?
Oh, actually,
yeah.
The photo that people bring in the most during a consultation is actually Kim Kardashian.
You know, I was actually not serious while asking that
that's why I'm laughing.
How does question?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Especially lipo BBL. You know, Kim, people underestimate how much power social media has.
Yeah.
And Kim Kardashian, with the family, the sisters, actually made BBL famous. So when people come in for what a liposuction and BBL, I want this figure. So they come in with a photo of Kim Kardashian or in their gallery. So, yeah, yes.
Eve, you seem to also share the same experience in
It's
terms
true.
of, you know, with
it's
your
only
clients.
that's like in the fitness world, or somebody who is pursuing to look ideal in a fitness world, they might have a more athletic kind of idol, and somebody who's toned in this particular way, or want my six-pack. Somebody will come with an image they want to be. Probably somebody who is generally known probably in the fitness world, or so it happens either way.
All right. Nyasugita, let's have you back on the conversation, because before we took the break, you were telling us about why you resorted to bleaching and why you did it. We asked you whether it was an easy or difficult decision, and you did say it was difficult. But being a public figure, Nyasugita, and coming out after, after the procedure, after the bleaching procedure, I would imagine that you got, different reactions from different people. They saw you in a different way, and then all of a sudden you appear different. Take us through that.
Okay, after my transition, I'd post something on social media, and then everybody, moja kianza tu hivi, like Nyasugita has bleached. Can you imagine over 2,000-3,000 people will be talking about me, how I look, how, they start looking at the small mistakes. They start doing that comparison of the older Nyasuguta and then the new Nyasuguta, And then they talk a lot of things that would affect me, but I thank God for being that strong, that I had already made my decision. I'm not going back. I'm not going to please anybody just because these people are there bullying me, calling me names, telling me that I've bleached my face, I'm going to get skin cancer, I'm going to die, I'm going to do all those things. Others were saying that I had done it because of my ex-husband. People had different versions of why I did it. And so many, even after I tried to explain to them that it was because of the accident, they'd always look for a negative side of trying to bully me with the transition that I had, with the fact that I had changed my skin color. Wangeliambia Nyasuguta bleach, and each and every time they tell me Nyasuguta bleach, I feel bad. I go by the name like nimetoa tu tint. Najua it's normal to kutoa tint. So just say this bullying was too much for me, and I thank God that I had the strength to overcome it, because nowadays people embrace the new Nyasuguta that I am, and they know I'm not going back to being the Nyasuguta that I was, the darker Nyasuguta, Shamba. And each and every time I'd appear to people like the new Nyasuguta that I am, the light Nyasuguta, wangeniambia, si tulidhani unakuwaga mweusi, kwani nini ilifanyika? Ai Nyasuguta, ulidecide to bleach. Some things would really demoralize me. Even when I'm working with my colleagues, they'd try and say, would try and make it look like a joke as to why I changed my skin color. Mwaka would go like, Nyasuguta, would make it look like it's a comical thing for people to start embracing the new Nyasuguta.
Right, and that's where I want us to dwell, because I'm actually seeing feedback. Keep it coming, by the way. So that's why I want us to dwell, Nyasuguta, because you've told us how it made you feel, and I don't understand why people always have to make some uncalled for comments, harsh comments on social media. But let's talk about your family. What did, because I assume they saw all those comments, the stares and the glares from people on the streets. What did that do to them?
My son was the one that was actually more affected, because he was even bullied at school. I remember there's this time that he got into a fight, and I normally tell him not to fight. So when he was in school, then another kid comes and tells him, like, hey, ameyako Nyasuguta ule mnono, imagine ali bleach. My son felt so bad. He had to get himself into a fight, which I didn't like it, I didn't support it, but I was like, okay, sawa. When it comes to that, so I'd say my family really encouraged me. They really they supported me in this transition, and I'd say so far so good, because was it not for their support and their love and their way they showed me that it is okay, I still have that what do you call it? I still feel like siko sawa, but thank God that my mom also supported me in that. She'd talk to her friends in Italy, or she'd consult them and ask them, can we find these beauty products here, locally, because at times it became expensive importing them from abroad, Actually, my mom really played a very big role in supporting me, which I'm really happy for that.
Right.
And also my sister,
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's always great to have, a support system. Stay with me, Nyasuguta. I'll be coming back to you. But let's just react to that. Why are people so mean? I mean, even if I decide to bleach right now, it's me. I'm okay with that. My people are okay with that. Why do I have to get trolled?
Sometimes I feel like people are like, how dare you? Try be different. How dare you do something I want to do, but I don't have the courage to, or maybe even the finances to, because to be honest, cosmetic surgery, or any sort of beauty, even for the face, you have to admit serums and
the skincare routine,
quite expensive.
Really expensive.
So when someone sees that you're trying to be different and you have the courage to do so, most of the people who troll people, and not even just for beauty standards or whatever it is, it comes from an insecurity from within. So I feel like it's how dare you do something that I would want, but I don't have the strength or the courage to do.
Right. Eve, what do you think? Because also, I want you to also respond to that question on a personal level because of your transition, your before and your after. I wish we had these photos, but I have seen them. I'm so sorry, guys, if you have not seen them. But your before and after, did you get what Doc is saying, like how dare you, how dare you transition to this look that I as a woman want and I cannot achieve probably because of my indiscipline?
All right, you will always get how dare you so long as you're courageous more than the person next to you. That exists, that you cannot wish away, and that will not go away. It is how you handle the how dare you. Because me having muscle in a society where women do not have muscle, and being one of the first women in Kenya, and I think in most part of, probably even in East Africa or something like that, it takes a lot of effort. We are on an upward trend. I'm glad it's getting better. But that does not stop there because you see, I realize that I have a lot of educating to do and I have a lot of responsibility, whether knowingly or unknowingly, to be able to deliver and make people understand my process and the benefits of doing whatever I do, the benefits of having muscle, the benefits of being able to work out, and the benefits of just, you know, staying healthy, really. Because we are growing in a society where staying healthy at some point meant being big.
That's true. Sign of wealth.
And when you're cutting, your family is asking you, are you starving? What's your problem? And you try gaining muscle on top of it. Now your husband is fighting you for it. And, you know, it takes a bit of effort. And every now and again, I always believe that when somebody is projecting something negative to you, it's not about you. It's not, no matter how negative or how much you feel it's close to truth, that person inside, they are facing a very dark season. And that's why they are projecting to be able to create a fence towards their own inner insecurities. So for me, any comments that came along the way, I was like, oh my God, this guy isn't well, he needs help. This guy. So every time you project an insecurity to me, I'm like, oh my God, you're unwell, you don't have to put it in public. You can write
actually
private.
tell them that? Do you respond and maybe not those exact words?
Well, what sometimes I do in the DM is ask them, would you like my assistance? Do you need help? Are you trying to get fit? Or so
very courageous.
No, because I wouldn't understand why somebody would sit down and write a whole paragraph of negativity about somebody else, and the person is walking in their body, carrying their body, doing what they want to do with their body, and you have the liberty of doing what you want with your body.
You do.
You see?
No one has stopped.
So just the fact that I can take it as my business to be in your business and assume authority over your business is not normal.
I like the way you put it.
It's not normal, and if it's not normal, you probably need help. Maybe I can help you, maybe I can't, you know, but I can maybe direct you to somebody who can.
Right.
So do you need help?
Okay, do you need help? All right, so I want us to go back to the, you know, the corrective cosmetic surgery bit and of course the fitness. But before that, let me go back to Nyasuguta. Nyasuguta, you're still with us. Let me take you back, you know, to when you made that decision that you're going for bleaching. You know, what are some of the steps that you took to ensure that you used the right products, that you went to the right place for that? Take us through that.
Okay, first of all, I had to know about, I had first to engage my pocket also. I had to check whether I had the right money, enough money for doing all that, because you cannot start changing your skin color and then after some time, and then you go back to a normal color. So I had to look for something that was affordable at that time. So that is when I engaged my auntie from Italy. She was sending me some products from Italy. And then, of course, there were products that would not harm me. I'd look for a product that didn't have hydroquinone, mercury, and then I'd apply on my face and on my body so that I can have an even skin tone. Number one was money priority. I had to put that as a priority so that I wouldn't get stuck at any point. And by getting the right products also that would not even harm me. So basically, those are some of the key factors that I was looking into.
Okay, and you mentioned something and reminded me that on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, there was a raid at Isili for some of these products. What she's mentioning, there are products that have mercury, which are not so good. You'll tell us more about that, Doc. But Simon, if we can just run that, the bites from Isili, that raid, if we can just have that up, please.
They are very, very, very dangerous to human beings. They are not supposed to be taken because they really cause harm to the skin, and eventually they can damage the kidney and even the brain. Actually, hydroquinone and mercury are very, very, very poisonous. They are hazardous, and they are not supposed to be used by anybody in this country.
Today, Kenya Bureau of Standards did a raid on the cosmetics that are being sold illegally within the country, and we had intelligence on the areas where we needed to go to, and therefore we raided Isili area. Biggest problem has been first, they are not meeting the Kenyan standards, and the banned ingredients in these cosmetics are hydroquinone and mercury, and these are substances that affect the consumer.
Okay, so that happened on Wednesday, but it's not the first time. And I'm pretty sure, even right now, if you go downtown in Nairobi or any other part of the country, you'll find the same products being sold and people buying them, despite the fact that we ran these pieces every single day and cautioned them against using them. KEBS, the Ministry of Health, whoever is in authority cautions them against using the products, but we just don't seem to stop. Why is it, and what's the risk of using these products, Doc?
So actually, KEBS passed that directive in October 2022, and it banned some specific trade names, which we won't mention, about 432, which contain mercury and hydroquinone. So mercury and hydroquinone have superficial effects, that is on the skin, and they have systemic effects. The superficial effects on the skin, on the creams now that you would apply, rashes, some may cause even a burn. Then in the long term, they affect the kidney because that's how they're excreted. So once you apply, it's absorbed by the body and it's excreted by the kidney. You'll find that it's difficult because I don't think people have seen that firsthand. The effect, probably someone will apply, they'll get a burn or a rash and they'll stop. Then the products are cheaper. We already know that beauty products, legit beauty products, are quite expensive, and not everybody can subscribe to that. So these products are quite cheap, and that's why you'll see that they're in some specific shops. So since people have never seen first-hand effects, they do not really understand how dangerous hydroquinone and mercury is. So they will still continue using these substandard products. But sometimes I feel like it would be good to use a patient or a live specimen. It would be to scare someone, but sometimes it would work. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the only way it works, actually.
Yes,
yeah,
because it will keep happening.
Eve, in your capacity as a woman, you know, just as a woman, why do we do this to ourselves? Why?
I think it all goes down to the ideal description of what you think beauty is. And I don't know who told black women or darker skinned women that they need to be lighter.
That's a very important.
I don't know.
That's a very important.
You just need to be okay with the skin you live in. If you have chosen to be lighter, it's fine. Just be okay with the body, the skin you have chosen to live in. Yeah. If you have to go, let's say you have to use a product, find quality products that would help you. I don't know. I am not the expert in that. Probably she is. I would tell you anything about working out and how to get your skin cleared through working out and have a natural, glowing skin through working out. That's what I know how to do.
Yeah.
But probably she would advise best.
Do you actually want to share some tips on the glowing skin?
Yeah. Actually, if you take down your sugar, take, wheat, and drink a lot of water. Drink water like your life depends on it, because your skin does. And your face is like a window through which you see your body. If you see breakouts, just know there is something amiss in your system. Probably it's hormonal, maybe it's in the food that you're eating and all that. Those are signs that you should clean up and, eat lean foods at least to clear up your system.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Nyasuguta, I'm sure, I'm told you watched that because you're able to watch and to hear us. I want to get your reaction to that, because that was a raid in Isli on Wednesday, and what that means, like I had said before, is that these products are still being sold despite cautions from KEBS, from the Ministry of Health, from all the quarters. You did your due diligence before going for the procedure that you did, but these products are so readily available and anyone can go for them, and women in Kenya, women in Africa, in the world are still doing this. What do you think of that? What do you make of that, Nyasuguta?
Grace, I'd say Wanjiku now, the mwananchi, and especially a woman of I won't put it like ule mdosi sana, a middle class woman cannot be able to maybe or maybe yule mama mwenye hawezi ku afford kununua those legit products. They normally go for those cheap products, whether we like it or not, and they still go for them. They are readily available and cheaper at price, and they work very fast, especially these products that have got this microquinine and hydroquinone. They work very fast, yeah? And many people would want to see the results faster. Unaona umepaka kitu imekuwa kia haraka sana. Other than these expensive products, they take time for you to make that recognizable transition, to have that glow, that radiance that everybody will look at you and say, okay. But these other products, they work very fast, and that's why people go for these cheap products. And whether we like it, whether the government likes it, people still go for them because they're cheap at price. And especially women that have got this self-esteem issues, and they really need to look like Suguta or Kinavera or some other celebrities that have really changed, they still go for these products because they still want to be noticed. A woman would still want to be noticed that that's what makes a woman feel like vizuri, at least, but ukiwa kama uko chini, you still feel like apana. When you see people staring at you and they start doing, those mamas still feel like you still need to do something. Even for me, when I changed my face, I still had to do more because I still want to look better and better. I still look brighter. I think that is something that is enough.
And
that is something that is enough.
Yeah, and Nyasuguta, from what you're saying, I'm curious, what was your experience like? How long did it take you to achieve the desired results?
I'd say I've not yet achieved it.
Ooh,
but so far so good.
Tell me more, Nyasuguta. What more do you want to achieve?
Okay, I'd say it's a transition. You know, in a taking time, like when you start doing the face, and then you realize like the hands, unaona uso ifanani na mkono, you still want to apply more ndo zifanane. Unaona kama sahi at least you can see the difference. And you can even go back to my Facebook page and you see how I was looking before. My face iko inafanana na uso, so I had to apply more and more and more. And this is what happens for us women, you know. Unataka bado, when I'm here, I can see other people who are lesser than me. I want to look like them, you know. Taangalia color, I really want to be that color. You know, binadamu watosheki. That's what I'd say.
Sasa Nyasuguta,
I haven't still gotten the...
Saizi, sasa niulize hii swali. Like saizi sasa kote kuna fanana. Is that correct Swahili? Saizi uko satisfied ama bado unataka zaidi?
Sasa hivi naweza sema ninafanana kote. I have that. Kuna zile places zenye ukataa. Songe tu kweli, kuna zile places unakutanga zinakataa kidogo, so unataka kununua hiyo product, ukipaka and then you realize this place will return more than this other place because you have to, you know, you have to keep on scrubbing it, rubbing the knuckle gel and all that. So when I realize this place has returned more than this place. So you'd still go and purchase a beauty product that will make your skin look even, you know, it is the compliance. You'll never get that satisfaction.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot
of because you're not injecting yourself. Because this is not injecting. You know, when you inject, the whole body looks the same. But this is not injecting. This is applying. You know, you apply. So, yeah, it's like a challenge.
But why did you opt for applying as opposed to injecting? Just allow me to ask. Though answer in less than a minute because we're due for a break. Lakini mbona uliendea ku-apply?
Okay, I had this myth that nilikuwa nishinda nikiambiwa like when you have these injectables you will not be able to conceive ama ukipata mtoto sijui kutakuwa na shida wakati wa CS because mimi upata mtoto na CS, so nikaanza kuuoga, you know, utaanza kuingia uoga, utabaki zile za okay sawa wacha nipate, ndio nikitaka kupata mimba I'll stop using them, alafu nitakuwa sawa, alafu nikishapata mtoto I can still go back. But when you injected the whole product in you, that means itakaa hapo kwa system yako, alafu mwezi wa uoga kuna cancer, kuna all this, you know, you get scared and you're like hapana. So that's why I didn't do the hiyo kudunga, but I still say nikikaka maybe itadunga.
Sawa sawa. Ebu tutarudi tuambie zaidi. But we're due for another break. Manu tells me we should take another break. Let's do that. When we come back, call us, yeah, with your questions, with your comments. We're ready to pick your calls. But let's take that break. Stay with us. polls, yeah? Call in with your questions, with your comments, 0768 095 491. That number there below, that at the bottom of your screen, yeah? Just call us with your questions or comments. But before I get back to my guests, we did ask some of you what beauty is, particularly in women. What you define beauty? Let's have a listen at what some of you had to say.
Beauty is God-given. Beauty is something which we should appreciate about. And when you see people investing so much in beauty, we are supposed to ask ourselves several questions. Is that person satisfied by the way God created him? Because if that person is contented by the way God created him, I don't think that so much things about beauty will be considered.
Hii kitu sometimes inakuwa smart, but it depends on how you will do it, on how you will fix it. Unaweza overdo ikuwe like image that is hata huwezi taka kuiangalia, lakini sometimes kwa ladies kuna wenye wanakuwa like they want men to admire them, wako kwa market.
Apply hivyo ndio look attractive, ndio at least ukue smart, to look good, at least ujifeel ni wewe, si ati for men, because hata unaweza watu watuvai manguo ati ndio unavalia wanaume, unavaa manguo ndio feel you are smart na umedress poa.
Right, that's what you had to say about what beauty is, particularly in women. And I see your feedback. Keep it coming. At San Nixon Dugire on Twitter says, it's said that your skincare routine is a bank account. Invest wisely. I agree. That's what he says. He agrees, yeah? But I think I agree, yeah?
I agree.
Yeah? All right. Doc, because we have less than 30 minutes now, let's go back to cosmetic surgery and talk about some botched procedures. Because in my research, and I actually do remember this, in 2018, we had a woman who died of sepsis after a botched breast augmentation surgery in Kenya, right here in the country, not elsewhere. At what point or when can such a procedure, fail and lead to such fatal circumstances?
So I think the most important thing, again, and I will reiterate this so many times, is to choose a qualified professional surgeon. Do your homework, please. We really do appreciate clients or patients who know about the procedure so that we can have an engaging conversation. Because if you choose someone who is well qualified, the chances of complications are reduced. Having said that, remember, cosmetic surgery is a surgery like any other. So during the consultation, after having discussed what is expected, we do discuss complications. And complications, we classify them, one, regarding to anesthesia, because sometimes you will be given general anesthesia where you are completely down. So we have to also work with a qualified professional who know what they're doing. Number two, there are also complications regarding the procedure, so the specific procedure. So there is something probably like bleeding. We anticipate that. How do we counter that? We will use something we call electrocautery, that is electricity, to make sure you don't bleed. If it's an infection, we will give you antibiotics during the surgery. We will use sterilized equipment to make sure that you don't get an infection or reduce the chances of an infection. Then post surgery, being that it's a surgery like any other, and especially in patients who have a high BMI, they are prone to getting clots. And so we may have to put them on blood thinners. So these are patients we also maybe have to monitor post-operatively. We have to have a very close relationship with them. So I do agree. Cosmetic surgery is a surgery like any other. There are chances of complications, and we do discuss this openly with our clients. We do not hide or pretend that it cannot happen.
Right.
But there are measures that we have put in place to try and reduce these complications as much as possible. And that is why you will also sign a consent. Having said that, we have discussed, you are aware, and if this happens, the doctor will intervene and give their all to make sure that we treat you well and counter these complications. Yes.
And in my research, I discovered that there are people who have had, what would call failed procedures. Say, like for instance, in the butt enlargement, and then one is bigger than the other.
Yes.
And they now want to go back to normal.
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yes, it is.
What does it take?
For example, now we have people in the Western America. You've seen a lot of people are now reversing their BBLs. Now it's a trend. Kim Kardashian has reversed, Black China has reversed. So even here we feel like it will catch up with us. So the fat that was injected, now you can go and liposuck that fat. Yes, so you can reverse some of these procedures. It is possible.
But why? I mean, okay, fine, that's a failed one, which you're reversing.
Yes.
But this other one, which went okay and you want to reverse, why would one want to do that?
Some people do have cosmetic surgery because it's a trend. They want to look a certain way, probably because of their industry. So when we are looking at people who are in the limelight, they feel like, or they are supposed to look a certain way so that they're able to sell their product or who they are as a person. So when this certain figure or who they are is out of season, and maybe now they have to go to how they were looking before, then they will ask for a reversal of the procedure. And it is possible for us to reverse, so why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. Plus also I just think maybe some are age bound, like let's say breast enlargement. Now think about yourself, you had breast enlargement as you're growing up, and now you're in your 60s with a 16-year-old,
double D's.
Double D's. So you're wrinkled everywhere, except your double D's are really D,
That's true.
I mean, so some of those things are not, like, it's hard to have them forever. And also, I think some can just be because of health factors. You start having a complication here, a complication there. I mean, and complications can be maybe you are not financially stable anymore to sustain this cycle.
Sure.
So which means probably there's something leaking, there's something, whatever, if I may think, Yeah, so you just like, okay, let me just do away with this thing since I can't afford it anymore. The financial source, whatever was supporting you to be able to support this lifestyle is not happening as it was.
Yeah, and let me ask, have you had instances where, let me just put it like, exercise fails, or the kind of training you're giving to your clients fails, maybe because one is indisciplined or just because their bodies probably don't want to, and they end up resulting to, the liposuction of this world and all that. Have you had such instances?
Yeah, but the body does not fail, but the mind can. With exercise, the failure only begins in the mind. And somebody can say, okay, I can't be disciplined enough with food, I can't be disciplined enough with ABCD, and go for cosmetic procedures. And right now, I think the biggest one is swallowing the balloon or whatever else, which has become very big. But you don't realize that this is just restricting your stomach capacity. At the end of the day, the discipline you're running away from, it is just a cycle. Once that cycle is ended, you will still have to come back to mastering your discipline. So either way, whether you use it as a short-term remedy as you work on the long-term, or you use it as a cycle that you want to keep doing, it's up to you as an individual and your affordability towards whatever procedure you're pursuing.
Right.
And as the doctor said, that they will communicate to you whatever risks are there, and you will see if there are risks that you want to take with yourself, especially, we are in an instantaneous society. Fitness needs a little bit more patient grit, discipline, and consistency, It is not something that you're just gonna walk in and, you're gonna get out snatched. It will tell you, wait, we are installing muscle, we are eliminating fat. Wait, but the good thing about fitness is that the solution is yours to hold forever. Yeah.
All right. Nyasuguta, before we took the break, you were telling us about, you know, you would go for the injectables at some point later on. We were having a discussion here, you know, just a small chat over the break, and before you joined us at from 9:30 thereabout, we were talking of this kind of transformations as an addiction, Nyasuguta, because you're now telling us you'd want to go lighter and lighter. Do you think you're probably addicted to this?
Yes. I'd admit I'm addicted, because like right now when I'm here in Dubai, so everybody here is light. So I see myself as being the darker one here.
Wow.
And still when you see me, when you see me live, you'd say I'm light. But when I'm comparing myself with my colleagues, the people that I'm interacting with, I see myself like I'm the darker one. So I'd really want to face up and be like that. Yeah, it's an addiction, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. So what are you doing? Yeah, are you researching, you know, on what are the right injectables to use? What are you doing in preparation for a lighter Nyasuguta?
Yeah, I'm preparing myself. Psychologically. But that one, I'll do the injectables after I've given birth to another kid, which might be maybe in 2 or 3 years' time.
Okay, allow me.
But make sure I'll do it.
Yeah, carry on.
I'll say I'll do it. Right now, the reason as to why I haven't done it yet is because I'm planning to have another kid. So after I'm done with kids, that will be in 2 or 3 years' time. So I'll be me, I'll be doing me. It will be all about me. Unajua, there's a Kikuyu word that says, "Walk for no water." Let me enjoy my youth when I'm like this. Nikizeeka, it's you know?
That's true.
People don't die because you've done liposuctions, you've done these cosmetic things. You know, ikifika yako ni yako, unaenda gani ile gari inakuja.
Well, I like that.
You know, a headache, can you go?
Yeah, unaenda na ile gari nakuja. Nyasuguta, wacha nikuulize, because you're talking about children, and you say you're going to do this in 2 years after you have your child who you're planning for right now. Just allow me to ask, you know, because, and I'm asking this because I've seen it happen to other people who went for bleaching and now they're very light, extremely light, but their children are not, because it's not in the genes. So mtoto hako venye mama anaka. I don't know, your thoughts generally on that, and maybe have you experienced such comments from people? And perhaps how you deal with it.
Okay, actually, let me give an example with myself. When you look at me, my son is not even light, he's dark. Yeah? So what I'll do once I start using the injectables, okay, before nitaanza kunywa madawa, sema when I'm still pregnant. Yeah, there are those medicines that you're given, they're called other what? Daktari hebu nisaidie. I think unameza before uko na mimba, when they're not vitamins, they're not. I'll look for the right word and then I'll share it with you on WhatsApp. Yeah, but there's a way that people do it, especially here. You know, you find like a very dark mom, dark dad by giving birth to a very light kid. It's because they use those, are they called tablets or what? I look for the right one. Right now, Google it.
So you plan on doing that? You plan on taking the tablets?
As long as haita affect mtoto wangu, na itani affect.
Okay.
You know, nowadays technology, things have changed. Let's just embrace change. You know, to square, like now, let me give you an example with myself. There's a very big difference. It was in a change. Unaona? In the 21st century, vitu zimebadilika sana. You know, the better for us to start embracing these changes, you know. kwa sababu world ina move haraka sana.
Okay, sawa. The tablets, Doc. I want your reaction to that. I don't know much about them myself, but I mean, is it not risky to your unborn baby?
Personally, I wouldn't advise. I know, yes, it's a very common practice in the western part of Africa. But yes, I don't think it's something I would recommend because you never know what would happen, especially in the early stages where the baby's been formed. Something we call teratogenesis might happen, and it might hurt the baby. When the baby is being formed in the first trimester, the baby is very sensitive to anything you take. That's why they'll even tell you not to take certain antibiotics, certain vitamins, because they will alter the genetic form of the baby. So to be honest, I really wouldn't advise, because if something was to go wrong in the genetic making, especially in the first trimester, the child might be born with some defects, which would be quite debilitating at the end. Especially we are talking about mercury and hydroquinone. If it can hurt an adult, you can imagine
how much more
what it could do to a baby. Yeah.
All right. So we have about 10 minutes left, and I know some people who will not forgive me if we don't talk about keto diet and intermittent fasting. Does it actually work? What is the right way to go about it, Eve?
All right. Both do work. But you have to know what is meant by keto. My problem is the keto that most people interpret, at least that I've seen, diets that have been brought forth that are in the name of keto are just high fat, low carb diet. That's not keto. Keto means the fat replaces the carbohydrates. And even to my clients, there's only one client who has been successful in following a keto diet. The rest, they always end up eating carbs.
It's hard.
Because it's hard, and it's harder for us Africans because we are brought up in a society. You cannot run away from some of these societal things, and we are brought up in a society where we believe in carbohydrates. Like if you look closely into our food, you'll find a lot of carbohydrates, which means we still have to consume some carbohydrates to find satisfaction in a meal that we've eaten. If I just gave you a fatty meat and vegetable, you'll just say, in fact, you'll tell yourself you haven't eaten any source of energy, yet the fat is a source of energy. So because of that, and then the quantity of fat. So you'll find somebody who is supposed to eat like a keto diet just overdoes it without considering that the kilojoules or the calories or the macros in whatever they are consuming. So they end up getting frustrated in the whole cycle of trying to balance out this. When it comes to intermittent fasting is a good idea. However, the reason it has failed is because most of us, when we open up the fast, we plunge in. What I mean by plunging in, you're low in sugar, your brain is just calibrating eating a lot because you've opened up a fast. So you're in a headache, a migraine, wherever, you know, and then you end up now over consuming calories. Whereas if you are eating this calorie, you know, in bits, you would not overconsume.
Right.
Yeah. So those are the only challenges. So it doesn't mean that they don't work, but from where we sit, most of us, it has not worked for us based on those facts. So you'll find, like, even if I know I'm supposed to consume these calories in a day, and then one thing that you have to realize is that not all foods have the same macros. How do I put it? If I'm trying to eat, let's say, chicken breast and somebody else is eating liver and the other person is eating beans, and all of us want to claim we are eating protein. The protein in chicken breast is definitely higher than what liver is. Let's talk about iron, and then beans is high in carbohydrates. So you see, all these people can clearly claim that, oh, I ate a balanced diet, but what was in your balanced diet? It goes further than just what you ate. It goes right into the detail of the quantities that you're receiving
right.
per gram, you know. And those are things that we don't consider, but that are very important. And then again, the quality of muscle you form depends on the food you consume.
Right.
And muscle is very important even as you age, as you grow older, because that is what will hold your structure, hold your frame, help you through things like arthritis and stuff.
Right.
You know, and I can't overemphasize the importance of muscle as we grow older. Even if you used to say, hey, me, I don't want to look like a man. Hey, try kidogo kidogo.
Try kidogo kidogo. Okay, Nyasuguta, I want to come back to you before we lose you. It's actually midnight there. It's going to midnight in Dubai. We really do appreciate your time, Nyasuguta, but I want to get your closing remarks. And part of it would be, or my question would be your advice to anyone who wants to be like Nyasuguta, because, you know, we were all watching you and we know you, and probably there's a young lady who wants to be like you. Okay, Manu, all right, it's okay. So there's probably someone who wants to be like you, Nyasuguta. What is your advice to them? And especially if they're not doing it for reasons such as the ones you had as a result of the accident you had, if they're just doing it for fun, if they just don't like their dark skin and want to be light, what do you tell them?
Just tell them to just be them. If you feel like you're not satisfied with who you are and you feel like you really need to do that change, because even if I tell you not to do it, just go ahead and do it. That is obvious, especially when you tell a human being, don't do this, don't do this, just still go and do it. So just be you. Feel like changing your skin color, go ahead. Life ni yako, badilisha. If you feel like you're happy about your melanin, like just look for what do I call it? A platform that will feel like uko sawa, because kama hauko sawa, you still keep on like trying to be someone else, you know. That's what I'm saying. Just be you. Unataka bleach shauri yako. Unataka mweusi. Like just recently I was joking with my son and telling him, unaona vile watu wanaona wewe kama mtoto wangu kwa sababu ni mweusi na mimi ni mweupe. I was like, hey mom, wacha nitafikiria kama nitakuwa kama wewe ama nitaendelea kwa hivi mweusi. You know, amejeka ile platform akona hiyo decision ya kumake, you know. And even when we do selfies and post them on Facebook, he's like, he's proud. You know, even when people are saying, hey, kijana wako ni mweusi kukuliko Nyasuguta, punguza mafuta, you know. And he's just okay. Unajua, when you're used to these moments, it's just normal. So just be you.
Right. Before I let you go, my director Manu and the whole crew here will not forgive me if I don't ask you to do that signature Nyasuguta laugh for us. So please do it, Nyasuguta, as we wind up.
Tafuteni pesa. Pia nyinyi.
Oh Lord, I wish you could hear how Manu is laughing in my ear. But thank you so much, Nyasuguta. Oh yeah, she's dropped the line, but it's fine. Thank you so much for joining us, Nyasuguta, all the way from Dubai. We do appreciate that. We are almost wrapping up, Doc and Eve, but as part again of your closing remarks, ladies, let's talk about what some of our viewers said when we asked them what beauty is. One mentioned about self-esteem, and I remember this is what we started with. So do you think we should preach, more of self-love? That if I was, because nobody asked me, but when I was preparing for this discussion today, I just remembered how when I was young, it was normal to be dark. I personally didn't have any problem with that, not that I do now, but at some point when you grow up, you start to discover that, hey, I'm dark. You start to discover that, hey, there's like a certain standard of beauty, and if I'm not light, then I'm not pretty. It's like the light-skinned ladies are the beautiful ones. Some men make it worse because I'm looking for a light-skinned chick. Do we preach more of self-love to women? And what do we tell men who sort of like pressure us to achieving this perfect body, especially even after like giving birth?
Yes, I agree. We have to preach more of self-love. You have to be more confident in yourself, because I don't think the tide will change anytime soon. There's a lot of pressure, especially with exposure, the social media, internet. I feel like the pressure will only get worse. We may try to change, preach self-love, but if you're not confident in yourself, then the tide will push you over. So I feel like sometimes the way to go around it is to try and help people be more confident in themselves, such that if you're dark-skinned or however you look like or feel like, as long as you're healthy, because there's also that aspect too, that you have to be healthy. We cannot again condone not being healthy.
Compromise.
Yes, we cannot compromise, and that's where the fitness industry comes in. I don't want you to come into my office with hypertension, with diabetes. I want you to live a long, healthy life. But if you're confident in yourself, I feel like you will be able to withstand the storm. The standards will come from the West, and with there it's getting worse. So it's only time that it will come to Africa and into Kenya. So if we teach our ladies to stand firm, they will be okay. As for the men, well, can we do really anything to them? Because a preference is a preference. If someone wants a light skin, can you tell them not to really want someone who is light skin? At the end of the day, they will go and look for a lady who, there's someone who is light skin.
Yeah.
So if it's your preference, please go and look for a light skin, but don't push someone who is maybe of a darker tone to go into a lighter skin tone, because that means maybe using something that's not safe, because they cannot afford maybe the IV version, which is glutathione, which is quite expensive and many people cannot afford. So choose someone maybe who is light skinned, but don't pressure someone to use other means.
Right. Eve, your closing remarks?
All right, my closing remarks would be self-love. But self-love does not mean you sink yourself in a sabotage yourself in positivity. How do I put it? And I'm putting this in the aspect of fitness and just trying to get into a healthy lifestyle. I'm not exactly speaking about like the, you know, like skin and everything. Meaning, I am aware and love myself the way I am, whether I'm big or small, right? Whether I'm fat or skinny or whatever, or whether I have a bum or not, or whether I have, but does not mean I cannot make, you know, effort towards being better without harm. You understand? So you have to have both of them going together, so that you do not just you do not just get to a point of comfort where you're basically doing nothing and just breathing, and you know, but at the same time you are content with yourself and aware of yourself and your space. About somebody else, I say about, let's say, the men, there is someone for everyone. Don't bother. If they don't want you because you're dark skinned, somebody wants somebody who is even almost navy blue. So don't worry. Don't worry. There's someone out there for you. You don't have to work extra hard for somebody who doesn't want you. You just have to be the best version of yourself.
I'm debating whether I should say this, but the irony, I think I'm going to whisper, the irony is most of those who have such standards, the men, are not light themselves.
And they're not even skinny themselves.
Okay, all right, okay. So I'm told we really need to wrap this up. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for your feedback. Just allow me to sample one. Manu here from Iman James. He says, African men will have to participate in this final liberation. Women, let's embrace our, it's actually a she. Let's embrace our black identity. That's what she says. Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you so much for your time and contribution, ladies. Dr. Mukami Gadareki, plastic reconstructive and aesthetic surgeon. Evelyn Okinyowala, world elite, pro wellness champion and founder, Evil Health and Fitness. And of course, you